Welcome to Chinwag Tuesdays, your passport to a world of language and culture.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Chinwag Tuesdays. I'm Amanda and I'm really excited for today's special guest, Adriana, who's a fellow English teacher who's now living in Croatia. Thank you so much for being here, Adriana.
Thank you for having me, Amanda. It's a pleasure to speak with you finally. I've been following you for a while, so I'm looking forward to this
Me
episode.
too. So tell us about yourself. How did you go from teaching English in Australia? I'm assuming, you taught English in Australia. Now you're living in Croatia. Just tell me all about that. I'm so interested.
Well, actually, so I've been living in Croatia for 13, going on to my 14th year now. So I'm going to be 35 this year. So sad. Anyway, that's another topic. But I finished my master's in international business in Australia. And while doing my master's, I'm from Melbourne. I'd also done my CELTA. I come from a Croatian background and my parents, we had some family in Croatia, and it was pretty much get a full-time job or try living abroad. So I didn't do a gap year. A lot of people do gap years, this, that. And I'd always been working in Australia. I think you're from rural. Where are you from? You lived everywhere, if I'm not
Yes, I was
mistaken.
going to say, yes, exactly. When people ask me, it's like not a simple answer. I was born in Sydney. I grew up in regional New South Wales, Coffs Harbour. It's on the beach. And then I've spent time in NP and then Brisbane.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I always anyway, I'll talk about that later on, but maybe how I grew up is a little bit different to how you grew up. If you grew up in regional Australia, I grew up in Melbourne, 15 k's from CBD. And usually there people, you start working, I started working, I wanted to work, and legally you can start work. Maybe it's changed at 14 and 9 months, and 15 got my first part-time job, like casual work.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, oh, what am I going to do now? Get a house mortgage and work, all tried out. And then I did my CELTA as my backup plan if I couldn't find a job. I played tennis at a high level. I'm a tennis coach, also credited with Victoria, the Teaching Association, Tennis Coaches Association in Victoria. And then I've always liked teaching, and teaching was my backup plan, but I really enjoyed it. I worked a little bit in business in Croatia, so I help a lot of my students overcoming the fear of speaking English because as a second language speaker of Croatian, I know how hard, challenging, like people laugh at you for your accent. They may not laugh at you, but they give you this look. And basically I just fell in love with it. And I understand the problems my students have because I have it on a daily basis. And yeah, I've been teaching for over 15 years now, did my CELTA. So I taught a lot of Saudis, a lot of people from mainly Asian countries, migrating to Australia, preparing for university admission. That was part of my CELTA training. And I've pretty much been teaching online for about 11 years. But I started off, I really enjoy teaching children. So I have two children myself. That was interesting, our first introduction. My two boys were just all over the shop. But yeah, I'm interested in also child development, how people learn. And we as adults also learn like children, but we forget that sometimes. That's a little bit of my story.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how interesting. I didn't realize you'd been living overseas for so long. But actually, I also started working at around 14 and 9 months because my parents bought a cafe. So they had a cafe in my hometown. And so that was my first job. My first part-time job was working for them. And I was around 14, almost 15. So yeah, I had been working for like literally half my life by the time I came to India. So I moved here to get married. My husband is Indian. And I wasn't allowed to work for a period of time because of visa restrictions. And people would say to me, what are you going to do? You're going to get bored. And I'm like, oh, mate, like I've been working literally half of my life, like from 15 in some kind of capacity. I've been having a part-time job studying, full-time study, part-time work. I just want a break. And then that break lasted about a year. And I was like, I am done. I'm so bored.
It's funny that you say that because I don't know how it's like in India, but so I'm based in Croatia. And people here finish high school around 18 to 19 years old. They have shift schools. A lot of people probably listening to your podcast also can relate to how I'm explaining this. Is a little bit strange. In Melbourne, where I grew up, everyone goes to school. It's pretty much 8 to 4 people are in school. And that's it. That's the school time. Also work time. And then after school, you get like an odd job. I don't know how it was for you, but I was working. And then when I went to uni, I was working like casual, but I was doing 40 hours plus I was doing CELTA. Like it was just insane. And then going out every weekend. And this is really
Yeah.
common for us in Melbourne, a lot of people to develop
Yeah.
these just skills. And you need money. It's expensive to live in the city. Like, even if your
Yeah.
parents do have, like, you maybe live, depending on your socioeconomic status, but like my parents are fine, but my parents are like, we're not going to pay for you to go out to do this and that. And,
Yeah.
you can work, and it's quite common for people to work
Yeah.
and to travel. And then I also
Yeah.
had a year gap when I moved to Croatia. And I'm like, what the hell? What am I going to do with my life, man? No, it was so weird. I started like gardening because I'm like, I'm so bored. Then I started volunteer work because I'm like, it looks good on your resume. And
Yeah.
Australians look at your resume. Like, this is the
Yeah.
Australian thinking, okay, I need to do something. And I travel like an hour and a half on a bus to go to this Caritas place and work with children with disabilities.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm happy, even though that year was like boring as hell. But I had that
Yeah.
time to do some charity work, which
Yeah.
did you have time for charity work in Australia?
No, I didn't really do any charity work, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Like, to be completely frank, I didn't.
Yeah.
I just worked.
So
Just worked, really.
yeah.
Yeah. But no, here in India, people don't really work part-time unless they do some kind of like tutoring for college, like college tutoring or like high school tutoring. The kind of jobs that we have in Australia that pay really decent, like waitressing, food and beverage, hospitality, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. Here, you don't do those jobs unless you're from a lower kind of social class. So if you're from like a higher socioeconomic background, you wouldn't be seen doing those jobs. It would be frowned upon. Whereas in Australia, like, there's just, you can really work anything and no one even blinks twice at the job that you do. It's just, oh yeah, you're just paying your way. And when my parents bought the cafe, and I have two siblings, so the three of us used to work at this cafe. And my parents said to us, from now on, you're making your own money. Anything you want to buy, you buy it yourself. You have to save. I was learning how to lay by if I wanted. I think the first thing I bought was a pair of skate shoes or something from the surf shop. And then, that was at 15, basically. I was independent with money. Didn't learn any good money skills. Don't have good money skills even now, but it was a young age.
Yeah, I remember saving up. So I traveled a bit to Croatia before I'd actually moved here. I just remember people like, oh, you're enjoying life here. I'm like, yeah, but I work so hard in Australia, studying and working. And then it's just like, this is what, and it was a lot cheaper here. Like, now inflation around the world is crazy. It's pretty much the same prices in Croatia. And I'm in Zagreb and Melbourne. I think this is something, like, I always tell my husband's Croatian, so he's born here, and it's a little bit different. Here, people do have summer jobs because they have like a 2-month break. So a lot of people, and the coastal tourism is big in Croatia.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go for 2 months and work and then come back. And also for tax reasons, it's not the best. It's just a different system in itself compared to in Australia. But I think this is a good system. You taught me money skills. I think I learned money skills working part-time.
Yeah.
And just also just meeting people, showing up on time, how to dress, preparing your lunch. Like, do people take lunch in India to work?
Yeah, they're called tiffin boxes. They're basically these steel little round containers that stack up, that have this little lid, and they carry this big lunch box to work. Or you can get tiffin deliveries, so they'll get them delivered to the office. But people here don't really have time management. Like, my husband's the worst for it. Whereas I'm so organized, I've got like my weekly schedule, I've got a daily schedule, I've got like my yearly kind of diary. And he wakes up in the morning and says, what am I doing today?
Same thing. I'll tell you how to solve this problem. Put in to-do lists.
I know. If we go anywhere, I have to tell him like an hour before we're supposed to leave. I tell him the wrong time, and then we still end up sometimes being late. Like, he's so disorganized. And coming from Australia, where time management is like, when I worked in hospitality or anywhere, when I worked anywhere, if the start time was 9 o'clock, you're there at 8:50. You're not walking in the door at 9 o'clock. You're sitting at your computer or behind the counter at 9 o'clock ready to go. You're not walking in the door.
Yeah, it's true.
So what was some of the biggest challenges you faced when you were adapting to life in Croatia?
Well, it was 13 years ago, but I remember it vividly because so I'm fluent. I did have some knowledge of the Croatian language when I moved here, but I would say that I'm a lot like someone listening to this podcast at the moment. You may be able to understand 50 to 60% of what we're saying, but if we started talking about a really specific topic you couldn't understand, When I moved here, I couldn't understand the news. I couldn't understand dialects. It was so hard, so hard. And I remember the main problem was language, but also interaction with people. So Australians are pretty, I would say we're pretty happy people. I always like to compare like the Americans are like really happy, but we're like happy, like not as happy as Americans. And then when we walk down the street, this was a big shock for my husband, and this was a big culture shock for me. So when I go for a walk, I'm like, hey, how's it going in Croatian? And Croatians don't do this. And I just realized, so my sister moved here 4 years ago. And it was so funny. My neighbor, one of my old neighbors, she asked me, so I'd been living already for 8 years here, and I'd walk past her and I'd be like, hey, how are you? It's quite common in Australia. You're going for a walk. So, hey, how's it going, mate? Good, mate. And just walk on. You go and shop. My husband's like, why is everyone asking each other how they are? But we don't really care how you are, but we just acknowledge your presence and give you a smile. And it's like, but here, this neighbor was like to me, why does your sister just walk by and ask me how I am? But she doesn't listen to me. And I'd be waiting for a bus. People like, you're so happy. I'm like, do I just attract people, random people to speak to me? But these little cultural differences can also put you in awkward situations, which I found myself in. And it took me a while to realize maybe not to smile at everyone or not to ask everyone how they are. And just understanding this may be vice versa. So somebody, for example, maybe from India or Croatia moving to Australia, Australians do tend to say, hey, how's it going, mate? These differences do add up. That language, accents, go and get stuff done. I was by myself here. So I did have some family, but every day I was living by myself. I hadn't met my husband then. And then there was no smartphones. So like they also conjugate the words. So for example, Schwarzova, this one's, it's actually, I don't even, they do this over, but you put it in Google Maps and it doesn't come up. Now with technology, it comes up like that, but it didn't come up, and I'd be like completely lost. And like just street names, numbers, the maps are ridiculous. So this is a lot older city. Everyday basic thing is looking for a doctor, understanding the doctor, what the hell am I meant to do? What's Medicare? How do I get Medicare? And all this with a language barrier. What I started to do, and I recommend to a lot of students, is I'm like, just speak slowly, open your mouth and write down everything you need. So I always had a checklist. I'm like, and even today I do this. I'm like, Croatian is my second language. I'm fluent, but if it's something that's really technical and I really need that, I like to double check with questions. And I've learned that because even though I am fluent, sometimes because it's just that new piece of information, and be that in English, if you're listening to this and you feel, oh, it's so hard, so many things. Me as a native English speaker, I'm constantly challenging myself also with the English language. You just have mechanisms to do this in your native language because you're more familiar with this, but just adapting those same mechanisms to your second language. My husband's like, why do you still write those down? I'm like, because I don't want to make a mistake and go back and deal with bureaucrats again. Like, I just don't have the time.
It's so crazy what you were saying about like the being overly friendly, because I'm the same. I'm a very friendly person, and that's part of my personality. I have to tone down here because there's too many people in India. You can't be saying bloody good morning to everyone or g'day to everyone, but also like people aren't used to it. And if you say hello to the wrong person, it can be misconstrued and they take it the wrong way. I remember when I first moved here, one of the times when I started to drive, and I was driving out of our complex, and we don't have like electronic security systems. We still have physical security guards. So when I would be leaving the complex and they lift the boom gate up, I would give a little wave at the steering wheel to say thanks.
That's so normal.
And my husband would be like, why are you waving at them? And I'm like, to say thanks. He's like, don't do that. Like, we don't do that here. Or just little things like that. And when I went back to Australia for the first time after 3.5 years, my husband said to me at the airport, don't go and talk to everyone. Like, just I know that you love talking to everyone, but just tone it down a little bit. But then when I was in Australia, I was walking to the gym one day and I was on one side of the road. There was like old mate on this side of the road, and we're walking, and he's literally, g'day, love, how you going? Across the road. I was like, yeah, I'm in Australia now.
It's completely normal. And I really think it might sound strange to someone listening at the moment, but this is a big shock that we have. And vice versa, if I greeted someone in Australia, they didn't greet me back, but what's wrong with you? Like, you're being so un-Australian.
I actually say that to my students because they're like, I don't know how to small talk. And I actually say to them, okay, people don't actually want to know how you are. It's a formality. It's like a
We don't care.
transaction. Nah, but you have to ask them back. And that's where people
Yep.
get stuck. They'll reply, good, thanks. And then the other person's kind of like waiting, but they don't know to ask it back. And I'm like, look, you just have to ask it back. And that's how I tell people, if you want to get out of your comfort zone, go to Coles, go to Woolies, don't go to self-serve checkout, but go and be served by someone and have a small interaction with them to practice asking how someone is. It's their customer service. It's their job to keep the conversation going if they want. So it's like a very structured kind of conversation. So that's the easiest way to try and learn is through there. But make sure you ask people back, because if you don't, it will seem rude.
Yeah, before I moved to Croatia, I was working so I've had a lot of odd jobs. I worked in Big W, Safeway, Hudson's Coffee. I'd worked in teaching tennis coaching, but then I'd worked security at Melbourne Airport. Customer service is a big thing. So every industry has customer service in Australia. So anybody listening, if the security guards get trained on customer service, security at the airport, then that is a huge thing. In the police, it's a really big industry in Australia in all branches, and just to make the other person feel happy. But also I can understand why maybe someone from India or even Croatia has this problem. I don't know if you can relate to this. Growing up in Australia, our education system teaches us, like, we are taught, it's arguable how we talk. Some people like it's propaganda, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But we are taught to critically think and to ask questions. And also when we're learning the English language, we ask questions. For example, we'd read The Animal Farm in year 12, and we had to analyze that book and ask questions in detail. Did you read any books in high school? Or?
Oh, I did, but I can't remember what books I read. But yeah, we did read them in English.
And we're taught to ask questions, and this also stays with us later in life. And I wouldn't blame yourself if you're not that type of person. For example, if I compare me and my husband, if there's a problem, I will get on the phone and I'll call everyone to solve this problem. Because as an Australian, I'm taught to ask questions and get quick feedback. Or go to the tax office. Maybe that's a little bit my personal character, but in Australia, if you have a problem, you have institutions you can ask questions to. Now, this is not normal in Croatia, and I think in lots of parts of the world, because you have this hierarchy. And as you said, we don't look at your job. If you're earning a living and you're not living on social benefits, dude, we love you. If you're on the social security, no one's going to, it's dude, get a job.
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true.
And we don't care what you're doing, as long as you're working, you're paying your bills, and that, and you're not, the tax brackets are high and people are angry. If I'm paying taxes for you to be in the dole.
Exactly. As long as you're not like, taking advantage of the dole, then we don't really care. Work whatever you want. Work 10 jobs if you want to.
But a lot of people aren't used to asking questions. So I can understand why people have this thought. And then with a lot of my students, I teach them to ask questions, ask me questions, think. I don't know if it's like for you. And I'm so exhausted after your lessons. I'm like, because I know that you're not used to thinking and your education system hasn't allowed you this. And it doesn't mean the education system is bad, because a lot of the greatest thinkers have come out of many of these education systems. It's just that our culture is wired a little bit different. And then you can see that in their interactions.
So even though I live in India, I don't really have a lot of Indian students. Most of my students are they're in Australia, but I have a variety of students from like Asia, South America. But same thing, especially in Asia. They're not really taught to critically think. And my friend and I were talking about this. She's an American also living in India. And she watched an interview with someone, I don't know, somewhere along the line. But basically how Indians are taught the difference between Indian education. And again, like you said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's different. Is that, you said book report year 12. We're given a book we have to read, and it's like, write a report and just answer these kind of questions. Whereas here, they're restricted. You have to write a book report. You can only answer these questions. You can only talk about these things, and everything fits very neatly inside a box. And so they're not really taught to critically think. So you are right. Like, it's very similar here. My husband actually can critically think, and I think it comes down to his upbringing, because his parents are not educated. They're very like a simple family from the mountains. They moved to the city after they got married. No education. My mother-in-law couldn't even read until like my sister-in-law taught her how to read when she was going through schooling. And so they moved here with basically the clothes on their back, and they had to learn to do everything for themselves. And I think because my husband grew up in that environment, seeing them doing everything for themselves, like he can fix anything. Like he can just watch something on YouTube and fix it. So like he has like pretty good critical thinking skills from that side of things, but not everyone has had that same upbringing. And I think it's just because of his own personal upbringing with his family that he's been able to learn those things, but it's not super common.
Yeah, it's very generalistic what I said. So you do have exceptions,
Yeah,
and I
of
wouldn't
course,
say,
yeah.
very
But
stereotypical.
yeah, and no, but I get it, like, because I see it all the time. And I've had situations with students where I do try and, like, having those open discussion questions and trying to get them to think about things where they can't find the answer on the screen because they haven't really been taught or learned how to do that kind of critical thinking. And it just comes down to like the education and it's being a little bit different to how we were brought up. But I can completely relate to trying to fix everything and ask 100 questions because my husband's always like, why do you ask so many questions about things? I'm like, because I need the answer. And like Hindi, I'm B1. I'm at nowhere near a level where I can comfortably call up a place and speak to them unless I really have to. And it's hard because sometimes I'm like on my husband's back. Can you call this person and ask this question and ask that?
I have students in that situation, and maybe I think this also depends on your character. I wouldn't say don't take this personally, but I'm not that I can't be bothered waiting for my husband to come home for me to call him all the time. And I always tell my students, if you're in that situation, to push yourself because it's those awkward situations. It's just like training at the gym. Maybe you have a muscle or you want to run that extra K, or it's gonna hurt. You're gonna embarrass yourself. But because I had to do that, I was by myself, and that phase is the worst phase, and people are going to laugh at you. People will hang up on you, but the more that you do that, you push yourself, it also helps you to be more independent. I know a lot of people that have moved to Australia, they're 70 years old now, and they can't call up an institution and speak in English, or they're taking their children with them and that. And I think it also depends on the quality of life that you want. I personally can't imagine that I have to always be with my husband. Can you call? Can you do this? Can you and then depending what you want in the long term, like short term, you'll be laughed at. People will think that you're a stranger, like that you're just completely weird. But give it 2-3 months and you'll be used to people laughing at you. You'll know how to overcome these situations and you'll know how to tell them where to go. No, but that's the most important thing as well, because also understand that Australians have a lot of respect for people, for foreigners that actually try to assimilate into culture. And the vice versa is with foreigners like myself. A lot of people realize that I try and they're like, oh, you speak the language. They can hear I have an accent. Sometimes I use the wrong word, but they also respect that I've tried. And think about it yourself. If you go to live in a foreign country and you never try to learn the language, of course, you're not going to get the service you want. And of course, Australians are going to be bad to you. But if you try, even if you make a mistake, Australians will help you. And people are people at the end of the day, and you will meet shit people. And just forget about those people.
Exactly. When I moved to India, I started learning Hindi. My in-laws don't speak English, so I had to. But I could have easily survived here for the most part, getting by on English because people do speak it. But I would have lost a piece of my independence, like you said. Like, there's no way I can just sit around waiting for my husband. It's just who I am as a person, because I'm a very independent person. Like I said before, I was working at 15, making my own money, making my own decisions, those things. Before I moved to India, I was living by myself for 3 years. So I wanted to learn the language because also I felt like it would be a little bit inconsiderate and rude if I didn't. Because India used to be a British colony. India was like ruled by the British for 300 years. There's still definitely that post-colonization kind of feeling here. And I felt like I was being a bit of a colonizer by speaking the colonizer's language if I didn't Hindi or learn one of the languages. But I really struggled at the beginning. I didn't want to talk to anyone. And now I'm like, oh, whatever. The first thing I say is my Hindi's not good. Please speak slowly. And people are so nice and helpful because they see that you're trying.
And you will need to degrade yourself and get off your high horse, but in the long term will help you. It happened to me as well.
Yeah, it really will.
It's not how many people I meet and they're like, I can't have small talk when I go. I see personally, you share a lot of content on Instagram, like with a lot of Aussie slang. And then I'm like, and where does she pull this slang from? I'm like, dude, stress less with the Aussie slang. Like, I personally don't use that much slang, honestly. And in
Yeah.
Melbourne, because I grew up with a lot of immigrants, of course, you're going out like Ballarat, Bendigo, regional. I do have friends that do speak like that, but generally, not a lot of Australians in Melbourne. We understand it depending on the, like,
Yeah.
when I go through your profile, I really need to switch over and then I get it, but I need to think a little bit more because I've been living abroad for so long. But there was some, like, you have some dog speaking and some Aussie just going, I said everything, but I'd never speak like him. And I was reading through the comments, like, this is, anyway, the comment discussion
Yeah.
that was happening there. And I see you're being very politically correct, and the Aussies are just like being blatant one. And I'm just like, this is hilarious. And with these situations, just understand that you hear this on TV, but if you're an expat, you probably won't hear this a lot in Australia. Everyday
Exactly.
settings, and I have to think about it
Yeah.
a lot.
And that's the thing, like, even though I post a lot of slang, but I even tell my students, like, don't feel like you have to force yourself to speak slang. Not everyone says
No,
g'day. Like, I don't even say g'day. My YouTube
I don't
channel for
like
my life
it.
in India is g'day namaste, just because it's a play on hello, hello. But I don't. I would say if I see someone, I'll say good morning, I'll say hi, but I rarely say g'day. And I only ever use mate when I'm being sarcastic. Like, I won't call like someone down the street mate. Yeah, I don't speak like that. But when I'm being sarcastic, like I said it before, mate, then I'll use it. But in other situations, and not everyone does. So as long as you
Like,
can understand the slang, yeah, you don't have to speak it.
but that video that went viral on your Instagram, I think that if you're worried about Aussie slang, I don't want to be blatant, and it's not in my nature as an Australian. Australians aren't direct and honest, but go through the comments and have a look at what half the Aussies are saying in that section. How it's just, I feel, and that's not my style, and it's not something that my and a lot of, I feel that a lot of Australians may think like this. Like, it's not our socioeconomic status. Some people do speak like this from different, let's say, hierarchies, but a lot of us generally speak like this in formal settings and everyday settings. And we like to be a little bit more proper. And this is just the international sort of stigma that we're all like laid back, out in thongs or barefoot. Never walk barefoot. This is a sort of stigma. Yeah, and on the beach. And even when I get out of the water, did you get the syringes in Melbourne? Hell no, I'm not walking barefoot anywhere. No way.
Fair.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but no, when you do see something like this, go through the comment section because I get a kick out of it.
Oh, I know. You know what? I just like at the beginning, I didn't realize that reel would go so viral, and it did. Like, it just took off. And at the beginning, I didn't pick up on the sarcasm like the Australians were using. Like, oh, it's not even hard. And then I was like, okay, I've been out of Australia too long because I'm not even picking up on the Aussie sarcasm. And now I just don't even reply. I don't reply to any of the Aussie ones that are like that. Oh, what is this? It's like the King's English.
But it's normal. Also, Australians are very
Yeah.
opinionated when it comes to social media and the culture. So, like every country.
All right. So, how do you maintain your Australian identity while immersing yourself in Croatian culture? Because 13 years in Croatia, you still have a pretty Aussie accent. Are there any other ways you try to maintain your identity?
It sounds like a daily ritual. Like I got the flag up or something. Sorry. I don't know how I'm meant to answer this question.
I'll give you an example. So I guess it's more about just like remembering where you came from, because for me, I was never a religious person. We're going to talk about religion for a second. I was never a religious person in Australia, but I'm more religious here with Christianity because India is such a religious place. Sometimes it feels a bit overpowering with the surrounding religions. And so I'm more religious here as a Christian because it helps remind me where I'm from. So that sort of thing, that's my kind of identity. So maybe I can do the question as in like, how do you maintain your identity? Did you change any parts of yourself in Croatia? But I suppose you're Croatian
Yeah,
background.
of course.
So,
And I grew up in Australia. I'm born, raised, bred. And then I think if I maintain my Australian identity by instilling, but that's also maybe my upbringing, like discipline and the value of working and the value of having food on the table. That's also just how I grew up a little bit. I have 2 children. They're going to be 3 now. And we have kangaroos, koalas. They have those hats.
With the little cork hanging off it.
Yeah, cool. In Melbourne, no one wears that. I'm like to my mum, please bring. So my parents live in Melbourne. I have a sister in Melbourne. I have a sister here. Anyway, I have 3 sisters, a big family, and we're all over the world. But we grew up there. A lot of people are like, what's Australian food or Australian culture? I'm like, now they're sort of, sorry, maybe like now they're starting to develop this identity. But like how I maintain my Australianism, I think it's that just I have my own perspective. So I'm a religious person, a Catholic, always been. And I went to a Catholic school, private school in Australia. But in school, we learn about different religions and we learn acceptance. So we practice, but we accept as well. And I think for me, how I maintain my Australianism or Australian identity, and also how my children are Australian and how I want to raise them as Australians is work ethic, discipline, enjoying life. So you can work, but you can also enjoy as much as you can, being outdoors, but also acceptance. So this is something that I feel a lot of the world doesn't have. And Australia also is questionable when it comes to racism. It is questionable. And Australia is not a perfect country, but it is my country where I came from. And just this. So that's what I learned growing up in Australia. And I think those, because we are one, we are many from all the lands that we come. And that always sticks in my mind. We are all different, but if we can unite, we can be better. And we don't need to agree with everybody, but then we can express our opinion. But at the end of the day, we all work together. Yeah.
I love that. About Australian food, this topic's so funny because people ask me, what's Australian food like? And I'm like, well, my mom's Italian. I grew up eating Italian food. So when I think of homemade Australian food, it's lasagna and pasta. But like it's just, I think, and so when I feel homesick here, I cook lasagna. So it's not exactly Australian food, but it's part of my cultural identity from Australia. So it's those little things as well. And I think that's part of the reasons I started my Aussie English with Amanda was because it's a way of me trying to stay connected to where I'm from as well. And I'm kind of keeping that part of me, because when you move to a country that is really overpowering in some ways, it's really easy to lose yourself and lose part of your identity. And I didn't want that to happen. So I've had to find ways to make sure I haven't lost pieces of myself.
Yeah, for me, it's daily routines, honestly. So I'm a big routine person. I have that with my children.
Yes. So just to finish up, how can people contact you if they want to get in touch with you for lessons or any of, like, I think you do like a speaking club and things like that. So how can people contact you?
On social media, I'm English with Adriana, and you can find me on my website, English Teacher. I'm on all social media platforms. And yeah, Amanda, it was just so lovely having a chat with another Aussie and speaking. And
I know.
I hope this
Don't
episode
you miss it?
really helps. Yeah, it was really lovely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been so great.
Thank you.